Hey, how's it going, YouTube? How y'all doing today? Feeding cattle the breakfast this morning. Supposed to be getting some rain here this week, which is fantastic. It has been maybe 3-4 weeks since we had any rain. We had a hard frost too, so it killed this grass, and there was zero rain. Just makes it difficult for this grass to grow in. I need grass to be putting proper conditioning on these cattle. When these cattle have access to real good grass, their development it visibly changes. They become visibly much healthier. They need good forage for them to put on weight correctly, for them to put on weight in a way that makes me think that they are everybody doing okay. This Wednesday they should be getting some rain. Got my little calf here on some grain. I got her a little scoop. If I ever think that a calf, a particular animal, needs to be monitored a bit closely, I scoop their food into this scoop, and I feed them individually, because I know that this scoop, well, 7 of these scoops make 25 pounds. So each scoop is just over 3 pounds of grain, about 3.5 pounds of grain. So I'll measure out how much they eat. These cattle also, but this animal, she's doing completely she's doing completely fine. I just happened to have a little scoop of grain that was left over, so I let her have it. These animals, if feeding them more grain made everything better, I would do it. Reality though, if these animals get too much of this grain, they'll actually eat themselves to a point where they become extremely sick. This grain, it needs to be supplemented with forage, like hay or grass or anything like that. And they need forage with it. If I just fed them a whole bunch of grain, they would get sick. They would get real sick, to a point where it could kill them, in all honesty. It's called I think it's called acidosis. But these animals, when they get too much grain, it actually messes them up in terms of their diet. This animal right here, she should be going she's going to market here soon. I have 2 other animals that are going to market. This is a good example of an animal that just needs that little bit more conditioning. She's about 90% there. I just would like to see her a little bit more developed in this back leg. Well, I would like to see her put a little bit more mass on there. I'd like to see her a little bit bigger. She's about 90% ready. To get these animals real plump, to get these animals looking real good, they need grass. To have grass, I need water. So it needs to rain. These animals, so here locally, there's a sale barn that's having a big preconditioned calf sale here next weekend. So when these big preconditioned calf sales happen, big buyers, these big order buyers, they will go to these preconditioned calf sale barns. They will only go to those big preconditioned calf sale barns. So what will happen is that these other sale barns here locally will just have a lack of buyers. So to get into that preconditioned calf sale barn, these animals need to be registered. Long story short, if I took these calves to a regular sale barn while they were having a preconditioned calf sale barn, chances are I would make less money, just because there would be a shortage of buyers. They would all be over at that preconditioned calf sale barn. So I'm going to give it a couple more weeks Then I'm gonna take my animals to market. In those couple of weeks, I should be getting a good amount of rain on this field. So these animals will have that opportunity to put on that little bit extra conditioning. Grass is my cheapest as well as highest quality forage. This grain is good stuff too. It's got like almonds in it. Almonds, cottonseed, alfalfa, distiller grains, corn. It's real good quality grain. Everything that I put into these cattle in terms of food, I use highest quality stuff that I can find. I use highest quality foodstuffs that I am able to find, simply because food is the least of my expenses. If I start having animals die, that is when I start losing money. So if these animals have a poor diet, if these animals have a low quality diet, they start having health problems, that is what costs me a lot of money. Like, I can bring in a 2,000 pounds of grain for $430. I can grow 10 acres of grass for $1,000. One of these calves die, that's like $375. If I had fed them for a month or two before they died, that's like losing $400. So I need to keep, so food costs is least of my worries. It is a big worry. It is in terms of priority of things that I worry about, is very low. In terms of highest things, like highest in terms of priority of things that I worry about, things that I look for on a daily basis, is cattle health. Because if I start having an animal get sick, a lot of these calves, these cattle, especially when they're real young, if they start getting sick, it only takes them about 3, 4, 5 days to die. So that's one thing that I do on a daily basis, is I walk around with these cattle, make sure everybody's doing okay. Here's this calf with a cleft palate. That's her cleft palate. She's kind of a, well, her temperament is kind of a, well, okay, so she'll hit me with her head. That's the thing. She'll walk up to me, she'll hit me with her head. So when she gets bigger, that'll be a problem. Just simply because if she's a 1,000-pound animal, when she's 350 pounds like this, 400 pounds, 450 pounds like this, you know, it may be cute when she decides to butt me with her head, walk up to me and butt me with her head, but when she's 1,000 pounds, it's a different story. Because if she even lightly butts me with her head, that could completely mess me up. And if she gets excited or something and she pushes me a little harder, that's a big problem. I've had a big animal get excited next to me one time. I was carrying a food sack, got excited, started hopping around. She just accidentally kind of jumped into me, and it popped every bone in my back. I thought I was gonna be paralyzed. I was numb for like 30 minutes. These animals are all going out into pasture right now. They just ate their grain. So these animals, I take good care of them, but you know, and I respect them, and I give them the best I can in terms of everything that I can do. They are, you know, they are different from having a dog or a cat, though, because they are dangerous. They are dangerous. So they're drinking from this pond today. I always keep my distance from them. That's her right there. That's my processor calf. I'm gonna be taking her into a processor to put her in as meat. I'm gonna be eating her, long story short. But we're gonna get some rain this week. It's going to put some extra conditioning on these cattle. I need good conditioning on these animals. I'm gonna go over this way, find a calf. I need to find a particular calf here. He's running off though. These animals, their conditioning is easy to spot from looking at their back legs. Yeah, they're all kind of walking off. When I bring in a new calf, when I bring in some new animals, I'll point it out a bit more clearly. But it's easy to tell a calf's conditioning by looking at their back legs. Their back legs should be full of muscle. Every once, maybe this guy. When these calves are small, it's easier to see that their muscling needs to develop a little bit more. Looks kind of thin. Yep. Another way to here's some fresh cow poop. Another way to know if an animal is having a good diet is by looking at their poop. Their poop should look like this. If their poop is too clumped up, into balls like this, that means that their diet has too little protein in it. If their poop is too runny, like they're having real bad diarrhea, that means that these animals are having either too much protein in their diet, or they're having too much water in their diet. So it's hard to pay attention while I'm walking. Walking on the field is different than walking on the road. you gotta look at where you're stepping. I've messed up my ankle several times just stepping on a rock. Probably happened to me 5 times last year. So stepping on something and just took my ankle out. Yeah. These calves are all going out on the pasture right now to go eat some grass. They need some more rain. We need some more rain to get this grass growing in. Yeah, but when I bring in some more calves, I'll bring up that conditioning on how to tell a calf's conditioning by looking at their back leg, because it's one big thing that I do, particularly because that muscling in their back leg is easy to see. By looking at that muscling on their back leg, I am able to tell if an animal's had a good diet. If an animal has had if an animal needs to develop that muscling, it's an opportunity. I see it as an opportunity. It's like when somebody, I guess, who fixes up houses looks at a house that says, oh my gosh, this house just needs some paint on it. That's how I see it. Because if a calf just needs a better diet, if a calf is showing signs of just needing a better diet, then that's easy. I can just bring them in, put them on a good diet, keep an eye on how they're pooping, keep an eye on how they're developing. Then if they put on that muscle, so muscle weighs a lot. Muscle, if these animals put on muscling, it makes them heavier a lot faster. So these cattle, ultimately, when they go to market, they are priced per pound. So if I buy an animal at 250 pounds, I pay $1.60 a pound, then that is what it is. So these animals get bought or sold by poundage. So if I take an animal to 500 pounds to a market, at 550 pounds to a market, then they give me $1.35 a pound, then I'll make more money than if an animal was 475 pounds, then I got $1.35 a pound, just because poundage adds up. So if an animal is showing signs of needing a bit better conditioning, that's easy for me to that's easy for me to see, as well as correct, or as well as it's something that I can do. You know, it's something that I actually need to do. So, all right, that's it for me, YouTube. Y'all have a good one.